Welcome to the Radical Responsibility Revolution podcast. This is where we are transforming lives, inspiring you to reclaim your health, your wealth, and the power of your mind. Here we share actionable insights, inviting you to turn inwards and design your life of purpose and abundance. Welcome back to another episode of Radical Responsibility Revolution. And ladies, I want you to buckle up today because today's guest is going to flip your expectations sideways, backways, every which way you can imagine, because he's a man. Oh my gosh. Yep. An actual man who built one of the top ranked podcasts in the world for women's empowerment. Oh my gosh. I can't wait to have you hear about this. His name is Brad Walsh. He's the creator of Empowerography podcast. He's an award-winning photographer, best-selling author, and the first man that I've ever met who proudly calls himself a story doula. So for those of you that have had babies, you don't know what that means, but you heard that right, a story doula. So try not to love that too much because you're going to fall in love with him anyways. While we picture guys are out there taking selfies with their protein shakes, Brad's out photographing women in lingerie, not to objectify them, but to help them remember who the hell they are. He started by using boudoir photography and storytelling, and this is where he began to turn the male gaze into something sacred, a mere power instead of judgment. What started as a camera and a calling was turned into a global movement, reminding women that their stories, their scars, and their sensuality are worth being seen. And you know how I love that. So today we're talking about what it means for men to actually honor the feminine, how confidence can be captured through a lens, and all of the modalities that he uses, and why sometimes the best empowerment comes from someone brave enough to stand beside you instead of in front of you. And I want to give a special shout out to Brad today because it's his Nana's heavenly birthday, and it's my Nana and his Nana are actually watching over this conversation today. So I want to dive in with Brad, this man who proves that when masculine meets feminine in reverence, the world gets a whole lot more beautiful. I'm calling this episode The Man Who Helps Women See Themselves. Brad, I'm so excited to have you here. And I know that our nanas are watching. Mm-hmm. And more importantly, I am so excited to talk about all the things that you do. But I want you to just to share where you are, not in the world, but you can share that too. Where are you today? Who is Brad in this moment? And then we'll talk about how you got to be Brad.
Well, first of all, I want to say a huge thank you for that beautiful, incredible introduction. My gosh, my heart is overflowing with love and gratitude for that. I truly appreciate that. And yes, I do know that both of our nanas are here watching over and participating from the spiritual world in this conversation. So thank you. That introduction was so beautiful, so powerful. I really appreciate that. I am honored and happy to be here and to be a guest on your platform. Thank you so much for inviting me to share on your platform and be part of this conversation with you. I'll give the physical location. I'm located in Toronto, Canada. Right
My
now.
Condolences. I'm just kidding.
Well, at least it's not New York.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. You can see that I have short sleeves on. It was 80 degrees today.
Oh, it's 10, 20, about 50 degrees, 52 degrees here, and it's dreary and rainy. But anyways, all that aside, where am I right now? I am focusing on building the Empowerography platform, continuing to build that through podcast interviews, but I'm also at a space, and this is just fairly recent, of realizing that I need to step out from behind the mic a little bit more and step in front of the mic with opportunities like you are presenting for me and with me right now to become more visible, to share my story and my journey and give insight as to who I am as a man, as a human being, as a husband, as a son, as a grandson, all of these things, because it's important. I've spent so much time shining a light on other people. I realize that it's time for me to turn the light around and shine it on me a little bit. So I'm easing into that and starting to try to get comfortable with being in the spotlight. So this is yet another foray into that. So that's where I'm at right now.
Yeah, I love that you are recognizing that, because I believe that we all have this part of us that wants to be, I don't know. I want to be in the limelight, but I'm telling you, I want to be in the back of the room
Mhm.
and in the shadows more than I do that a lot of times, even though I'm a speaker trainer and all of these things. But your story has so much relevance for particularly women, but also for men.
Mhm.
And I feel like sometimes I've been leaving men out of the conversation when I'm talking to women, because we are growing in our feminine energy and up
Mhm.
leveling ourselves in different ways. And yet there's this whole group of you guys that have been left over here,
Yeah, very true.
because we've all, just like women, we got the masculine playbook,
Mhm.
and that there wasn't any space in there for you all to learn that this is how you do it. I think personal
Mhm.
that it's brilliant that you're speaking to women and empowering women, and at the same time what you've been able to do feels so translatable to men of how to show up in the world. I don't know if you heard this, but there was a Vogue magazine reporter recently that was
Mhm.
sharing about women, especially Gen Z women, that
Mhm.
are posting, etc., how they're embarrassed to have boyfriends. They're cutting their boyfriends
I
out of
heard something
pictures.
about that. Yes, I did hear
And
something about
so,
that.
but what that says to me is women are becoming so independent. We've swung this pendulum so far this way.
Yeah.
I want to talk to you first about what is it that you have learned from women, number one,
Mhm.
that women want from men that would possibly be creating that, and how then, just this is going to be a completely random question
Mhm.
because I didn't expect it, that what might we talk to men about and say, this is what I've learned from women, this is what they want? What's some sage wisdom you might be able to share with them?
I think, well, first of all, I think it's become, as you said, because the pendulum swung so far the other, it's been over here for so long with the patriarchy and all the shit that women have had to deal with, but now swung so far this way. And I'm hearing in conversations from friends of mine who are male saying, I don't know what to do anymore. Like, I don't know what women want. On one hand, women say they want the typical strong protector and gatherer, hunter gatherer type thing. And then in addition to that, they want the vulnerability and the softer side of men as well. And
Mm-hmm.
as soon as that softer, vulnerable side is shown to them, boom, they're gone. They run the other way. So it's very hard. It's hard for a lot of men to figure what the hell is okay. What do you want? Do you want both? Do you want one? Do you want the other? So I think through my conversations, anyways, I'm hearing that women do want the vulnerability. Women do want men to show their softer side
Mm-hmm.
too, and to listen. That's one of the biggest things is they want their men to listen to them. That's a
Mm-hmm.
huge one for sure. I have learned so much on this 5.5 year journey that I've been on
Yeah.
with the podcast alone, and photography as well. But I have grown and expanded so much as a human being, first and foremost, as a
Right.
man, as a son. My listening skills have improved so much because I know that's what women want. And of course, as
Mm-hmm.
you being a podcast host, you have to listen and not listen to respond, but listen with your heart, listen with
Yeah.
open ears. Heart led listening is something that I've talked quite a bit about. And we have two ears and one mouth for a reason. Use these
Mm-hmm.
more than you use this. It's important that we show up for conversations wholeheartedly with an open heart, an open mind, and open ears.
Yeah.
So conversation is a big piece of it. Women don't feel heard, and they don't feel they have a space to share, to talk, to speak, and to be
Mm-hmm.
heard. Really, when you think about it, that's all anyone wants as a human being is to be seen and be
Exactly.
heard. So those are the biggest things that I've learned about what women are looking for and what women want.
Yeah. I think it's interesting because you have found this way. I feel like it's almost this cosmic dare that was given to you to go and speak as an empowerment model for women, or a space where they could talk. And yet, this vulnerability that you're talking about, this is the first thing that I noticed about you. So
Mhm.
even you have been able to blend, which I believe that it's just energy, right? Masculine
Yeah.
and feminine energy. It's
Hmm.
just been out of balance. So we've been in this masculine energy trajectory. And so therefore it looks this way. And
Yeah.
yes, I agree 100%. Women are looking for the strong provider, the protector, but also with that vulnerable energy underneath. Not, I've heard this my whole life, and I'm sure I've
Hmm.
been guilty of it at some point. That the guy that's too nice, we don't want the too
Yeah.
nice guy, we
Yes.
want the
Yes.
bad
Yes.
guy, right?
Yes. Or
But
the
the
nice
bad guy,
guys finish last type
yeah, but
thing, right?
exactly. But the bad boy is not something you want to marry,
No,
right?
definitely
So,
not.
how do you blend that in your own personal life to be that strong male energy, masculine energy, but also to blend it with that feminine energy? Because that's really what's happening. We
Hmm.
don't want somebody that's just all balls to the wall,
No, no.
because literally that's not going to support who we are.
I think it starts honestly with first as a man realizing, recognizing, and admitting that we have both masculine and feminine within us. So that's the first thing is acknowledging it. But
Yeah.
then I think to lean into it more and to trust in it and to know that it's okay. See, I was raised very differently. I was raised with a single mom and my grandmother, my
Mm-hmm.
nana. And so I was always told that it's okay to show your emotions. It's okay to talk about your feelings.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to talk about anything, if you want to talk about something that's bought, come to us and talk to us. That's what we're here for. So I was raised very, very differently from your
Mm-hmm.
typical boy. And I think that honestly, and I've talked about this quite a bit, we need more of that. We need to let our
Yes.
boys know because it starts there, right? That's the
Mm-hmm.
foundation is when
Mm-hmm.
we have our is with our younger kids. I think that we need to let boys know that it's okay to show your emotions. It's okay to talk about your feelings because guess what? We're human beings. We are emotive beings.
Right.
We have
Mm-hmm.
emotions. And to go back to what I was saying at the beginning is we have both masculine and feminine within us. So it's okay to embrace that side too. You can live in a duality. We all have it. Women have masculine within them. So it's okay.
Yes.
I think you just have to know when the right time is to lean into one more so than the other. I think that's a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it starts with acknowledging that it's there first and leaning into it when you need to and knowing that it's okay to lean into feminine energy as a male and at times for women it's okay to lean into your masculine. I think women have had to go too far the other way with the
Yes.
masculine energy and we've seen
Yes.
that in corporate life and
Mm-hmm.
then when women do that though the crazy thing is they get called a bitch or she's aggressive or she's this or she's that. And no, I mean, women have had to do that. They've had no choice. So what are they supposed to do?
Exactly.
But I think we are seeing a flip in that where women, I think, are realizing that it's okay to step into and own their femininity in the boardroom. And I think it's being
Mm-hmm.
more widely accepted in the boardroom. I think we still have a long way to go, but I think we've at least started moving in the right direction with that.
Yeah. I think that's the most important thing for women to understand. And because I would say my primary demographic are women in their second
Hmm.
half. And that's why I've seen this trajectory of women doing exactly that. We all got, for the last 2,500 years, really, the masculine playbook. So that
Right.
was drive, go. Basically, we were given the playbook that said go hunt and fish and do all of that. But
Yeah.
oh, by the way, have babies, right?
Yes.
So that
Yes.
can wear you out a little bit.
Yeah, I would
But
say
it
so.
was because it was that masculine playbook in the business arena. I
Hmm.
used to say I'm the best man for the job. But the fact is, if we're following that, then we get into this conundrum of I want to be there for this career thing,
Hmm.
but then I want to have the mom gene going on.
Yep.
And how do I balance those? I know you have spoken to so many different women. What
Hmm.
is your take, just from a masculine perspective or a
Hmm.
man's perspective, of how that's been showing up for women when they get to this certain age where you just explained they're burned out? They're like,
Hmm.
okay, is this all there is? There's got to be
Yeah.
something else. So, what has been
Yeah.
your experience with those women?
I think they're realizing, and I think this started probably right around COVID time, maybe a little bit before, but I think COVID really opened it up and opened people's eyes to see that, you know what, we don't have to do things the way we've been doing it. It's time for a change, and the
Yeah,
time is now. We witnessed it through corporations shifting the way they do business. And I
right.
think women have just gotten tired of feeling tired. tired of being burned out, and they're
Hmm.
realizing that, you know what, this bullshit conditioning that we've been fed, where we have to put everyone else before us, we have to do for others before we do for
Hmm.
ourselves. No more. It's time to put our own oxygen masks on first before we
Yeah.
help anybody, because they're seeing that and realizing that this is their health they're talking about. This is
Yeah.
detrimental to them. And if they're doing that to themselves, how are they going to possibly ever be in and of service to anyone around them that they choose to be
Right.
in and of service to? They need to fill their cups first. And I know that sounds cliche, but it's the truth. We do. A friend of mine used the analogy, you have a cup and a saucer. Whatever is in the cup is for you. Whatever overflows into the saucer, that's what you have to give. So if you
Hmm.
don't look after yourself, you're of no use to anybody, and least of all to yourself. And that's the most important person. It is not selfish to put yourself first. It is actually selfless to do that. And so
Yes.
I'm seeing that narrative change. And again, as you know, as a podcast host, the more we talk about these things, the more we put that out there, the more people pick up on it and realize, hey, wait a minute, Debbie's onto something, or Brad. Yes, I agree with what Brad and Debbie are
Hmm.
saying. So that's what I'm seeing is women are learning and leaning more into putting themselves first and looking after themselves first, because then that just enables more abundance for everyone else in their lives.
You mentioned COVID, and I have,
Mhm.
it seems like every conversation I have, COVID comes up
Mhm.
as a pivot point.
Mhm.
It really truly was. I often look back on COVID and think that was one of the best things that ever happened to us.
Yes.
And there were a lot of people that went through a lot of pain. I
Mhm.
wasn't one of them. Lived in a small town in North Texas. So, and at the same time, you also began this podcast during
Yeah.
that time. So, talk
Mhm.
about your own experience with not the COVID itself, but the whole dynamic that you just alluded to, the shift that's been
Mhm.
happening. And so many beautiful things have come out of that, and explore some of the things that you've seen that women have come to know about themselves. Not just, I want to know about your journey, but
Yeah.
also about how you've uncovered that for them.
Well, for me, I'll start with me personally. I from right from the get-go, yes, it was horrible. There was a lot of loss. I lost my nana during COVID, and that was a tragic loss. And there was a lot of tragic loss for a lot of people, personal and financial. And that's horrible. And my heart goes out to everyone who suffered through a
Mhm.
loss, whether it be personal or financial. But I chose right from the beginning to look at it as a gift, because
Mhm.
I remember reading an article, and it still sticks with me. And one of the things that the person spoke, the writer spoke in the article, is this is the first time that the world has actually stopped and people can actually slow down and smell the roses, so to speak. The world literally stopped. And so
Mhm.
I chose to look at it as a gift of time. I looked at it. I have two choices here. I can go through door number one, where I would sit around and commiserate and bitch and complain about what's going on in the world, like half the world, over half the world was doing. Or I could choose to look at this as a gift of time that the world has been given, and take advantage of that gift to slow down, use the time to do something good, to put something good out into the world. And that's where the idea for the podcast came from. And like, why am I going to sit around and complain and commiserate? That does me no good. Going back to my earlier point about women, it doesn't serve me, which in turn does not serve the people around me. If I'm miserable because of what's going on, how's that going to affect everyone else around me? It's not good. So I chose to go through door number two and look at it as a gift. And I always said that from the beginning. This is a gift that we've all been given. We need to
Mhm.
appreciate and be grateful for that. Yes, again, not taking anything away from the loss, but let's change the lens. Let's change the perspective of that and look at it differently, because it was a gift. There's so many amazing things that came out of that. We got to see
Mhm.
humanity. People were kind to one another.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
Now, as far as the women, I think it speaks very much the same. Women got a chance to slow down and realize that it's time to start looking after myself. It's time to put me first. So I think that really helped shift the perspective. And it helped shift the perspective, like I said, around corporate, not having to go into the office, and that we don't have to
Mhm.
do things the way we've been doing them for so
Right.
long. There is a different and more beneficial, better way to do things, whether that be work, life, whatever it is. So I think it was a gift and a blessing for everybody, male and
Mhm.
female. I know that there was a lot of shit that women had to deal with in terms of if they were in an abusive home, they were stuck home with that
Yeah.
person, which is horrible. But I choose to look at it as such a gift. And it
Mhm.
did help shift mindsets for a
Yeah.
lot of women that I spoke to.
Yeah. I think it shifted for anybody that was actually paying attention because there's
Yeah.
still going to be the unconscious people out
Yes.
there. And at the same time, there's a statistic that I just did my podcast on that 300,000 plus women have left the workforce this year. And they attribute it to the fact that they didn't want to go back into the office because
Mm-hmm.
there was a lot of corporations that said do this.
Mm-hmm.
And more importantly, that they wanted to be home with their kids.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that just that slowing down that you talk about,
Mm-hmm.
if we never give ourselves pause, that's why I'm such a big advocate for meditation,
Yeah.
whatever that looks like for you, because it allows us to be aware and conscious. So when you are doing boudoir photography, so I want to
Mm-hmm.
talk about this just from the
Sure.
perspective that you got so much learning and knowledge about women and their
Mm-hmm.
insecurities. I want
Mm-hmm.
to talk about that because that's
Yeah.
pre-COVID. And
Yep.
this was where we were still in this frenzy of I'm not good enough. I mean, it still
Mm-hmm.
exists. But yet, when you would have a woman say to you, I don't want to do the photography until I lose 10 pounds.
Yes. 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 That was a
So
very
tell
common
me,
thing.
very common, but that's how we
Mm-hmm.
are. I'm not going to
Yeah.
get married. I don't want to go to the thing. I got to go to
Yeah.
the prom, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a common statement that women make
Mm-hmm.
a lot. I mean, I've
Yep.
done it myself, so I'm not saying that
Right.
I'm exempt from it. How did you reflect that back to them though? Because this is important just to hear it from a different
Mm-hmm.
voice
Yeah.
of how you approach that.
Yeah. So I do a pre-shoot consult with all of my potential clients. So I have a questionnaire that I go through with them. And one of the questions is, why do you want to do this? And so I'll start from before what you asked. I found that a lot of the women were saying to me, their response to that question was, well, I'm doing it for my partner. I'm doing it for my husband, my boyfriend, whatever, my wife, whatever it is. And I say to them, when they say that, I say, okay, understandable. I get it. But let's look at this through a different lens. Let's look at this. How about you? You should be doing this first and foremost for you. This is about you. Yes, the images you can gift to your partner, your husband, whatever. Absolutely. But the images, when all is said and done, they are just a byproduct of it's the experience is what this is about. It's about you stepping into who you are truly underneath everything. You are a beautiful woman. And it's about embracing that confidence and stepping into that. And yes, I heard all the excuses. I got to lose 10 pounds or not until I do this or not until. And I would say every time I hear that, I say, okay, I hear you. I understand where you're coming from. But how about we shift the perspective on that and let's capture who you are right now, the beauty of you in this moment at whatever weight it is. And then if you want, let's book another shoot when you've lost that 10
Mhm.
pounds or 20 pounds. Because honestly, if that's what they're saying, it's never going to happen. It's just an
Right.
excuse they're telling themselves. So I would reflect back to them that, okay, I hear you. You want to be heard. I understand where you're coming from. I get why you're saying that. But how about we capture the beauty of you now? Because you are beautiful. It doesn't matter what size body you have. You are beautiful as you are. You are beauty within and without. So let's
Mhm.
capture you now at this particular moment in your life. And then if you want, reach out. I'd be happy to do another shoot for you when you've lost that 10 pounds or whatever it is. But let's capture the beauty of who you are right now in this moment, because then you will have these images to look back on 2 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, whatever it is, and you'll see the beauty. It is about the experience. And when they show up in the studio, of course, they're very guarded and nervous and
Mhm.
vulnerable and all of the things. And so, honestly, Debbie, to witness the transformation that happens
Mhm.
is such a beautiful gift that I get
Mhm.
to witness. I mean, what a blessing that is for me. In that 90 minutes, that woman is completely transformed. She leaves a completely different woman. I don't care if she was not comfortable with her weight when she got there. By the time she leaves, she's a completely different woman. She has stepped into her beauty. She has stepped into her confidence. And I get to show her who she truly is as a woman.
Mhm.
And that is such a gift to me to be able to
Mhm.
do that for another human being, to be able to do that for a woman, to show her who she truly is, her true beauty.
So, how have you transformed who you are to bring that forward to today and where you're going, what you're doing with women now? Because that had such an impact on you.
Hmm.
And of course, when any of us, whether it be you're teaching people to speak, I was talking to somebody recently that helped Pavarotti, of all
Wow.
people, speak on stage, right? Because we all have our insecurities, but what you just described of
Hmm.
how that made you feel when
Hmm.
you helped somebody else transform,
Hmm.
she felt that same way, those tears of joy of watching him because he just had this beaming smile. So, how have you transformed from being able to do that for so many women, but also having that experience over these past few years doing this podcast and hearing these stories? How has that transformed you? But what do you feel that the universe is calling you to step into next? Because I feel like there's something percolating here, and I'm not here to coach you, okay? But
No,
also
but
am a
I
trigger.
I'm laughing because it's I'll explain. I'm just laughing because of what you're saying. So I guess first of all for me, it's helped me with confidence and stepping into who
Mhm.
I am and stepping into my authenticity. Yes, it's taken time for me to get here, but I am not immune to all of these things that the women I photograph or the women I speak to go through. I struggle with self-confidence. I struggled with self-confidence, imposter syndrome, and sorry, I should say I struggle with because just because we have overcome something in that moment does not mean that it doesn't come back. I think it's just a matter of as we go through our experiences, as we go through our journey, we pick up different tools through people we speak to learn to turn the volume down a lot quicker than we did beforehand. So that's what it has given me so many tools to help overcome my problem, my things, my confidence issues, my imposter syndrome, my visibility issues. I still struggle with visibility and I still struggle with imposter syndrome. I even get nervous before a photo shoot. So
Mhm.
it's still there, but having had the opportunity and the honor of photographing these women and of speaking with all of these women who I have had the pleasure and honor of speaking with, it has taught me so much about resilience, about courage, about stepping into my gifts and just going for it. Stop. We are our own biggest roadblocks, our own biggest hurdles. So
Mhm.
these are all the things that I've learned, and it has helped me so much. And again, I'm not saying I still don't struggle with some of this stuff. I do. Of course, I do. I'm a human being. And I'm okay saying that. I'm okay with admitting that because I've gathered tools along the way to learn how to deal with it a lot quicker. But it has helped me so much. It has taught me to step outside of my comfort zone, even though it feels scary as shit. It is nothing grows in a comfort zone. You're not going to go
Mhm.
anywhere. If you stay stuck there, you're going to stay stuck there. There's no growth. You have to
Right.
do uncomfortable things in order to grow. And so, yeah, it's scary as hell, but what the other option is you stay stuck and you are
Mhm.
the only one who can make the changes. No one can do it for you. You have to do it or you stay stuck. We always have a choice. So you choose. Do you want to stay stuck where you are or do you want to grow and expand and become and step into Brad 2.0 or Debbie 2.0 or Debbie
Mhm.
3.0 or whatever it is? So all of these lessons I have picked up on and learned from all of the amazing, inspiring women that I've had the pleasure and honor of interviewing because I've seen their growth. They've shared their story with me. And to see that growth and to see what's possible, this is something I always say too. When it's integral in my opinion to share our stories because when we do share
Mhm.
our stories, when we share our struggles, that is the permission slip for others
Yeah.
who are around you to know that it's okay, to know what's possible, and to know that, you know what? You're not alone. You're not the only person out there who has struggled with imposter syndrome or has struggled with confidence issues. Everybody struggles with it, and that's okay. You need to
Mm-hmm.
surround yourself with the right people. All of these things are lessons that I've learned, and it's helped me grow and expand as a human being and as a man. So it has been an incredible journey, and I'm still learning and still growing. That never stops because we're humans. We're
Right.
constantly evolving and stepping into different versions of ourselves. So where am I going now? You said that you feel there's something else bubbling.
Totally.
There is. It's tied into stepping into my visibility, showing up on. I have 3 podcast interviews this week. I've never had 3 in a week ever where I'm the guest. So it's,
Ooh.
yeah, I had one last week. I had one the week before. So I'm really amping up because I know that I need to do this. And a big piece of that also, the first step in this newer iteration of me, of Brad, I decided that I am going to start releasing solo episodes. So I released my
Mm-hmm.
first, well, not my first solo episode, but my newer version of my solo episodes this past week. So I'm putting myself out there more, as uncomfortable as that is for me, because it's scary putting myself out there. And then I am, this is the first time I have ever talked about this on a podcast. I've been working on something for the past, I would say, 3 or 4 months. Um, it's scary as hell for me. I'm nervous about it. I'm scared about it.
I can feel that, but I'm going to give you the space to do it.
I am stepping more into what sets my soul on fire. See, I've stepped away from photography since I started building this platform. And over the last year, I've felt this very strong calling to come back to it. I miss it because photography is my first love and my first passion. So I've been trying to figure out for the longest time, how do I fit photography into the Empowerography empire or under the Empowerography umbrella? And it finally hit me over this last few months. It and so what I get to witness, as you mentioned, you used the word, I've used the word transformation. I get to facilitate and witness transformation through my photography, but also through the podcast platform, through the conversations I get to have. I get to see women transform in that way because I think when we are able to openly and vulnerably share our stories, share our truth, it transforms us. It
Mm-hmm.
changes us. It opens up something new in us. So transformation, and I just realized this over the past little while, is the through line in the work I do as a story doula, as
Mm-hmm.
a
Mm-hmm.
podcast host, as a photographer. And so I decided that I'm going to step into what I'm calling the soul transformation journey or soul transformation experience, where I tie photography into coaching about
Mm-hmm.
transformation and confidence and visibility and all of these things. So that's what I'm stepping into. It's scary as hell. I still haven't figured out all the pieces yet. I don't know how the photography will tie into it, but I think that's what's going to set things apart for me is the
Mm-hmm.
photography piece being added into the coaching, because I don't know of
Yeah.
any coaching programs that tie in a photography angle to it. So that's
Mm-hmm.
where I think what will help me stand out as a coach
Yeah.
and to help facilitate transformation for these women. So I'm stepping into that.
So I don't know if what this, I don't know why I'm called to even share this
Okay.
because I met a woman when I was living in Playa. She was
Hmm.
not a photographer, but she
Hmm.
had a similar concept of getting a photographer to take pictures of women because she was a model and
Right.
then bring some sort of transformation. She wasn't even a coach either, but I was supporting her in that journey, but it feels
Hmm.
very similar. And I was thinking about her today. I went, why am I thinking about her today? But I think maybe it's just to share with you that when she shared that idea with me,
Hmm.
just as you're sharing it right now, that I know that's powerful because visually, as women, we are visual people.
Yeah.
A lot of us, not every
Hmm.
single one, but there's a majority of us. And
Hmm.
that is so key and critical to this whole transformation process. So I'm here saying yes, as the universe is saying yes to you as well,
Thank
because
you.
it always says yes. And then also how will people, let's talk about the story doula. What is,
Hmm.
how, talk about that a little bit, because I want you to share how people can get in touch with you and connect with you and start down this journey with you, because this is super powerful.
Thank you. Thank you for the space to share that. Like I said, haven't shared that publicly yet. So here we are. The story doula is just helping people facilitate and get comfortable in telling their stories. This is what we do as podcast hosts. This is what I do as a podcast host is help coach people through confidence and knowing that you do have a story because I have heard, and I'm sure you've heard this many times too, Debbie, is that I don't have a story. Well, and of course, for me in
You're
particular,
all in it, right?
yeah, and I deal with women. It's the same thing with
Yeah.
photography. Who am I to stand in front of a camera? No, you know what I mean? So the story piece of it is first, I don't have a story. So it's about ensuring them, encouraging them, and helping them draw that story out of them to know that it is there and the importance of sharing the story. I think that's probably the most important piece
Mhm.
is the importance of your story and building the confidence to know that you need to tell your story. I'm of the mindset and of the belief that it is our duty and our responsibility on this planet to share our stories because I can guarantee you, as I am sitting here right now with you, Debbie, and I'm sure you would echo what I'm saying, is that your story will impact one person. I guarantee you that it will
Yes,
impact at
absolutely.
least one person. So
100%.
you need to
Mhm.
tell your story. That
Yep.
story, your journey, your experiences have led you to this point for a reason to give you your
Hmm.
story to share with others. We are here on this planet to be in and of service to one another. So it is your duty and your responsibility to share that story with the world because your struggle, your story is someone else's life raft. And you're also
Hmm.
giving other people permission slip to stand up and share their story. The people around you, when they see you doing that, that's letting them know that, hey,
Hmm.
Debbie's standing up, share her story. Brad over here, okay, Debbie's doing it. So why can't I do it?
Hmm.
It's possible. So it's about instilling, most of it is instilling that confidence to stand up and step into her story and know that she needs to tell her story. So that's the whole premise behind being a story doula is helping people figure out what their story is and then stepping into it and owning it and sharing it with the world because the world needs it.
Yeah. I think if women and people in general
Hmm.
understood that our stories are, we are way showers for people that have not understood that you can come through that portal, that tunnel, whatever it is. And as you said, even if it's only one person, because there's a lot
Hmm.
of people out there that have stories about things, I don't know, they're weird diseases and things that maybe six people on the planet had. It's like, who else
Yeah.
has that? But
Hmm.
still, they are so impactful for the
Hmm.
people that have that are going through that. And it doesn't matter where we are in the world anymore, we can connect this technology. So I think it's so important that that is here
Hmm.
in that space, that you create this doula, birthing it forward, because I'm a
Hmm.
very big proponent of masculine is building, feminine is birthing.
Yeah. Hmm.
And as we birth things in a different way than we build them, because that's a
Hmm.
doing thing,
Yeah.
we become that. And so,
Yes.
who is the woman that you want to help become more of who she is? Describe her.
Mm, that's a tough one. I mean, I want to help everyone become who they are. I mean,
Yeah.
it,
And,
the
and it's
woman,
and it may be that, but she's also, where is she struggling right now? What is she feeling that you, because you've heard these feelings a
mhm.
million times from these women. What is she feeling?
She's feeling
How
not,
can you speak to her?
she's feeling not enoughness. She's not feeling confident in who she is. She's not believing in who she is. She doesn't know her own power. She hasn't seen who she truly is. She hasn't seen or experienced her power because she's been silenced. It's there.
Mhm.
It's always there. I think it's just buried and tamped very deeply down within her because of conditioning, because of parental conditioning, societal conditioning. It's all there within her. She just hasn't seen it yet. So that's what I'm doing is shining a light, whether that be visually through photography, story doula, helping her birth her story, and then the podcast platform. It's a perfect, what's the word I'm looking for? it's a perfect
I call it a
path.
trifecta.
Yeah. The photography, seeing who she is, helping her
Hmm.
birth her story, then giving her the platform to share her story, to put it out to the world. And
Yeah.
that's what I do. And that just hit me right now. I never even realized that that's the process right there. Those are the three
Really.
steps.
Yes. I love that because I had that struggle with myself with my process with the books, with the inner billionaire,
Hmm.
which is the frequency, then rooting in wealth and investing in yourself. And then ultimately the freedom is all the time that we have. But once we know what our process is, we can share that with the world. So that's what it is, ladies. And I
Thank you
want
for
to
helping me
circle.
birth that process, because
Yeah.
you just did that for me right here. I never thought about it that way. I never looked at it from through that lens or from that angle. So
Yeah.
thank you for helping me birth
And
that.
that's but we have to give people a pathway, right?
Yeah.
Because we can't get them from here to here.
Hmm.
And I want to circle back a little bit to what you
Hmm.
said, because this is so important for everybody to hear. We all have imposter syndrome, not
Hmm.
enoughness. I'm
Yeah.
insecure. I don't have confidence. And I don't care if somebody says, people look at me all the time, you're so confident. I'm like, yeah, right. Okay. You don't have the internal thoughts that I'm having,
That's right.
because this is the thing, is that we compare our insides to somebody else's outsides. But
Yes.
what you said was so, we call it vulnerable. Brene Brown got that whole vulnerable thing going
Yeah.
on, but I call it being humble.
Hmm.
Humble.
Okay.
Humble enough to say the truth of who you are, which you just did. And that was, look, I still feel this way all the time.
Hmm. Hmm.
But the thing that got me so much when you just did this, you said, I learned to dial down the loudness of whatever
Yeah.
that is,
Hmm.
because that really is it. We are never free from it. I just
No.
don't know why, as humans, we really aren't free from it, but
No,
we
never.
still have this ability to turn it down. So that's not our loudest voice.
That's right. That's
And I
right.
think I want to talk about comparison a little bit, because I know that
You are you
I,
reading my mind right now?
I compare Schlager.
Okay.
Like, and we're all doing it, but women
Yes.
especially, with all the
Yep.
influence and stuff. But think of that Schlager. Like, I don't drink Schlager, but compare Schlager. That's what we're drinking all day. Like, I'm comparing me to you. I'm comparing me to you.
Yes.
How do you even begin to share with a woman, especially in
Mm-hmm.
today's world that is so bombarded with influencers,
Mm-hmm.
that you are unique and we are all
Mm-hmm. Yes.
100% unique? There is nobody like us.
That's
And
right.
yet we're out there wanting to be like somebody else. I think,
Mm-hmm.
why?
Yeah. Yeah.
So what
I
it,
love that you asked this question, Debbie, because like I said, you must have been reading my mind, because this is what I was thinking about. And this is something, this was probably, aside from the confidence issue, or yeah, the confidence issue, even more so than the imposter syndrome. But aside from the confidence issue, this was something that I really struggled with very, very much, is comparisonitis. And listen, comparison is the thief of all joy, right? So
yes. Hmm.
I learned, it took me a while, because when I first leapt into photography as an entrepreneur, I left my corporate career of 12 and a half years and jumped into photography. And I was constantly comparing myself. Why is this photographer so far along in their journey and I'm only here, and they're getting all these gigs and I'm struggling over here? And I realized that, first of all, how can I possibly compare my 1 or 2 year to someone's 5 year? That's like comparing
Hmm.
apples to oranges. You cannot compare the two. It's impossible. You cannot, there's no linear line.
Hmm.
Like, you can't, it's not possible. And so that was the first thing that struck me. And again, like I said, it took a while. I got a mentor that helped me with this as well. So I would suggest, if you're struggling with things, and get a mentor. And I know one of the first things, because I did this, one of the first things that come, well, I can't afford a mentor. Okay, look at it this way then. Why don't, if you want a mentor, see if there's something you can do in trade, to work with that person in trade. People do that all the time. So he helped me. And the biggest thing I would say that helped me get through, because I like to say I really don't struggle with comparisonitis anymore, but again, we're human and it does pop up from now and then. But I have learned to completely turn the volume down on that as soon as it hits. And the way I do that, and I would suggest this for anybody out there, and this is what I would say to the women, is, first of all, realize that there is no competition. The only competition you have is you. That is your only competition. If you can look back, whatever you're struggling with, whatever you're comparing yourself about, whether it's your business, your job, whatever it is, look back. So for me, I'll just use my example as a photographer. I was I started looking back at my older work and seeing the improvement from, let's say, I still do this now. I'll go back and look at photographs that I took 15, 20 years ago, and I'll laugh at myself and think, oh my God, how could I possibly have thought that was good? This is horrible. But when you look at it from that point of view, you realize that that was where I was at that point in time, and that's okay. That was good for the skill set,
Mhm.
the tools, everything that I had at that point in my life. And I have improved. And that is the most important thing that you can do for
Mhm.
yourself is look back on for me as a photographer, look back on my previous work. Look back at where you were and where you are now. I guarantee you, you've improved in one way, shape, or form. That's how you turn down the volume on comparisonitis. At least
Mhm.
that's what works for me. And telling yourself and stepping into and embodying and believing that there is no such thing as competition. No one else, again, I'm going to go back to my experience. No one else has my eyes. No one else can see an image the way I do through a lens. Nobody, not one other person on this entire planet can do that.
Mhm.
No
Yep.
other person on this entire planet can provide the client experience that I do, the way I do. If you gave three photographers the same image to shoot, the same subject matter to shoot,
Mhm.
I guarantee you those three images would come out differently because
Yep.
we are not alike. And that is your superpower. That is your gift.
Yes.
One of your gifts is that you are unique. You are a
Yep.
fingerprint. Everyone's fingerprint is different. That
Mhm.
is your gift. So lean into it.
Mhm.
Lean into it. Comparison is not a thing. You don't need to compare yourself to anybody because you can't. No one else is you. The
No.
sooner you
No.
realize that and understand that, the sooner you will learn to turn the volume down on that comparisonitis gremlin when it creeps into your head.
Yeah, that is so true. And it really is. Comparison is the thief of joy. It
Hmm.
only will lead you to that place that is not going to create your joy for you. So I want to talk about a little bit of spirituality because we
Sure.
kind of landed on that from our conversations earlier
Yes.
on, and
Hmm.
we just resonate on that so much.
Hmm.
And the fact is that when I talk about spirituality, I'm not talking about a religion, and
Right.
I'm talking about this uniqueness because that brings us into that conversation about we are all unique
Hmm.
individualizations of the one. And
Yes.
so, how does that show up in your life moving forward? How did it bring you to where you are? To say, these are the things that I believe in. Because what our beliefs are what drives what we see in our reality.
Hmm.
And so I know that we've tiptoed around it a little bit. You're giving some great sage wisdom. I think one of the most important things is to just recognize that we are that uniqueness within this one and that we are all one. And as I look at you, I'm looking into the eyes of God. So if
Hmm.
there's everything's one, you're God, I'm God. And when I call
We
you
are
a
all
name
God.
or I don't honor you, then I'm not honoring myself.
Hmm.
So I know I shared a lot there. I want to just get your philosophy because I love it so much. And I know that that's what we resonated with on that
Yeah, I
first
I
calls.
agree with you. We are all one consciousness and we're here to lift the vibration of the consciousness together. We are here to support each other and lift each other up. But I'll be honest and vulnerable again, my spirituality journey did not start until about 3.5 years ago. And I have to
Mhm.
say, being my Nana's birthday today and we're celebrating our Nanas, she was the
Yeah.
catalyst for that. She helped
Oh.
me step into that. And it was because so when she passed in 2020, I was heartbroken. She's my heart. That woman was
Mhm.
my second mother. She was
Yeah.
everything to me. And we were so close. We had a bond that is not breakable even in death. And I wanted so bad to receive a sign from her.
Mhm.
And I kept asking and asking and it never came. And I would get angry because I'd be like, what the hell? Like, why aren't you showing up for me? And
Mhm.
I realized that it was because I wasn't ready. to receive it. And so I remember clear as day, I was in my garage. It was a summer day about 3.5 years ago. I was in my garage doing something. I was at the back of the garage, and I will never forget it as long as I live. I was bending down to pick something up, and a bird flew in and right over my head and right back out again. And I knew immediately, that's Nana. Here we go. Here is my first sign. I've been asking all along, and it hit me that she hasn't shown up because she knew I wasn't ready to receive it yet. And that's why she hasn't shown up. But then the signs started flooding in like crazy, like I was
Mhm.
getting them all the time. So I think it's here. Everything starts here. It's leaning in and believing in
Mhm.
yourself, trusting in yourself, and knowing that we are we are but a speck in this planet.
Mhm.
It is so much bigger than us. And when we realize how small and inconsequential we really are in the grand scheme of things, I think that puts a lot of shit in perspective. And that we are here to be in and of service to one another. That is the most important and the biggest reason we're all here is to do that for each other. We are here. Love is the highest vibration. We
Yeah.
need more love in this world. We need to
Mhm.
love on each other more now than ever. And it starts here first with us. You have to love
Yeah.
yourself. That's the
Right.
foundation. Then you can give all the love you have to as many people as you want. But it all starts
Mhm.
here with us. We're the foundation for all of it. We, as you said, we are God, each one of us. And we see each other. When we see each other that way, it
Mhm.
changes everything.
Everything. Mhm.
Absolutely everything.
Well, I guess she directed me to ask that question because I have no idea where it just came from. But the fact is that, so what do you think? Because you said you didn't really start your journey till about 3.5 or so
Mm.
years ago. What is the download of the message that you felt from her that said, this is the direction that I want you to go in this little globe, the third rock from the sun? Because as you said, even the Earth, we aren't even the biggest
No,
kid in our whole block, which is the solar
no.
system. We're like this little thing.
Yeah.
What do you feel like she said to your heart at that point?
At that point, I think first and foremost, she assured me that she was there because I didn't believe or think she was there. And
Mm-hmm.
so now I go forward from that day knowing that she's always here around me. She's always supporting me and that I can talk to her anytime I want. And I do. I talk to her every single
Mm-hmm.
day, every day. Now,
Mm-hmm.
another thing I've learned over the last, I would say, year with this whole thing with my communication with my Nana and is that so I was getting signs all the time, constantly, and then it stopped out of nowhere. And I'm like, why the fuck am I not getting, like, why is she not communicating with me anymore? Why am I not hearing from her? And I get sparingly, I'd get signs here and there. And then I sat with myself, I sat in silence, I reflected and I thought about it. And I realized that I'm not getting those signs because I think we get to a point in our journeys where our loved ones, whoever it is we're communicating with on the other side of the veil, they get to a point where they see and they know that you don't need those signs anymore. You're leaning too much into it. You don't need it. It's just a knowing. And so that
Mm-hmm.
for me struck me and hit me very hard. Because again, I was wondering, why am I not hearing from her? Like what's going on? And it
Mm-hmm.
hit me. So it's about trusting and allowing. I think we need to lean more into our
Mm-hmm.
inner guidance, our inner wisdom, and our intuition, which I think for a lot of people has been tamped so far down within
Yeah.
us. I used to say that it's been conditioned out of us. And then
Mm-hmm.
it hasn't. It's never left us. It's always there. It's just so far down. You've
Yeah.
forgotten that it's there.
Yeah.
So I think it's about leaning into and trusting and allowing, and that's not easy. I'm still on my learning journey with all of that, with the whole trusting and allowing piece. It's hard. It is really hard sometimes, but you have to trust and allow that the universe, your spirit team, they always have your back. Always. You alluded
Mm-hmm.
to it and said it earlier. The universe is always conspiring to do good for you.
Yeah.
And you're
Yeah.
going to get whatever you put out there, whether it be negative or
Yep.
positive. It's going to come
Yep.
back to you. So be very, very mindful of the thoughts that you have. Be very, very mindful of the words you use. All of these things matter. So pay
Mm-hmm.
attention and pay attention to the signs. They are always, always, always there. There's always signs.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to have the self-awareness and the attention to pay, to see, and to know that they're there.
Yeah.
So she's guided me and told me that I am on the right path and that she's always here with me, always.
Yeah. And I think that is so comforting. We built religions around it, and
Yes.
I've studied religions enough that all of them super date all of our, what do you want to call it, present, not present day, but within the last 2,000, 3,000 years,
Hmm.
because literally it was all passed on through these oral traditions for things that we have no reference for. Literally, we don't. Dispenza wrote a book called Supernatural. It's metaphysics is beyond the physics.
Yeah.
We are not physical beings. We are spiritual beings having these human experiences.
Yes.
But this whole notion, when you said the word veil, I love that word because it's just that far. It literally is as thin
Hmm.
as the thinnest material you can imagine.
Yeah.
It's right here in
Hmm.
our lives. And that mindfulness that you shared is the critical piece that I don't believe that anything is going wrong. I believe that everything's in divine order right now, but it appears that there's a lot of chaos going on.
Yes, it does.
That and part of that is that we are lacking the awareness and mindfulness
Hmm.
of every word, thought, feeling, action that we perpetuate
Hmm.
is the word of God. It is a prayer, it is a spell, if you will.
Hmm.
And that we are creating ripples in this cosmic universe.
Yeah.
So, how are we doing that? What are we putting into that prayer or that spell?
Can I
So,
share something? I just again, this is another thing that I just gave a lot of thought to and realized in the last little while is, as you're mentioning, this is why it came up is the state of the world, what we're seeing, what we're experiencing. And yes, it looks like absolute insanity. It
yeah,
looks like yeah, it does. The world is shitting the bed. It everywhere you
it
look.
looks exactly.
Canada is circling the drain, all of these things. And so this has really been weighing on my mind for the past 2 or 3 months.
Mhm.
And the question kept coming up for me, what the fuck can I do about it? What is my part in
Yeah.
this? How can I change? How can I create some kind of change in this? And on and on and on. This question constantly came up, and I was stumped, and I was thinking and thinking and thinking, and it finally hit me. The only thing that I can do is continue on my path, continue doing my work, continue believing in myself, continue to surround myself with heart and like-minded people, continue to gather
Mhm.
the light workers in my journey and on my journey,
Right.
and our voices are so much louder collectively. Our light shines so much brighter collectively, and the light will always, always, always beat back the darkness. So if
Mhm.
you're feeling despaired or you're feeling down about the situation, I get it, I relate, I understand, but keep that in mind. Just keep doing your work, keep moving forward,
Mhm.
keep connecting with like and heart-minded people. This is the only thing you can do. You can't change things at the governmental level. You can't make any changes there, but what you can do is change your own inner world, your
Yeah.
own inner circle. That's all you have control over. So focus on that, and that will shift everything for you. It did for me. Honestly,
Yeah.
I just had this revelation like 3 weeks ago that this is what I
Mhm.
have to do.
Yeah. Gandhi says, be the change you want to see,
Hmm.
not make the change you want to see. He said, be the change. And that
Yes.
really is the essence of everything that I teach. And I know that that is how this universe consciousness works is we have to be it. We have to be
Yes.
the energy before we can be outside of it. And just we've got it a little backwards on this thing called planet Earth. I feel like
Yes.
all that stuff that's happening outside of me that I must
Hmm.
deal with. And
Hmm.
the fact of the matter is who was it? The guy that was the Nazi that was in prison that wrote a book. Oh, I can't remember his name, but he was in a Nazi concentration camp.
Viktor Frankl.
Viktor Frankl. He's my go-to guy when it comes to listen. He was in the worst of the worst. We haven't even imagined the worst of the worst of the worst in any
No.
scenario that you can think of right now. But he kept that thought of I am in control of my own experience.
Mm-hmm.
He came out one of the happiest people you could ever dream of. And it was because he kept that vision, that knowingness, that feeling, that mindset. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what you just shared. It's so important for people to hear it, that we are not in charge of out there. We are
No.
in charge of right here. And
Mm-hmm.
so I want to have you share what I'm going to put it in the show notes, but what what do you want people to approach you, contact you with? How can we best serve and support you?
Um, I'm always looking for podcast guests.
Okay.
Share about my new experience or journey that I'm creating. Reach out if you're interested, if this piques your interest. I mean, you can get a hold of me Instagram at Empowerography Podcast, on Facebook, Brad Walsh, LinkedIn, Brad Walsh. I'm always open to conversation. I love speaking with people who are heart-minded and like-minded. So conversation is the catalyst for change. Let's talk. Let's talk about all this stuff, because the more we talk about it, the more that's going to help bring awareness to the planet. I always say there is more than enough room on this bus for everybody and anyone
Mm-hmm.
who wants to get on. Whether you're awakened or not, that's okay. It doesn't matter. We have to have empathy and compassion for those who haven't yet awakened, and understand that, you know what, there are some people that aren't going to awaken. So reach
Mm-hmm.
out. I'm always open for conversation. I'm always looking for guests for the podcast, and I'd be happy to have a conversation with anyone that wants to talk.
And he's a great conversationalist, so I'll just
Thank
testify to
you.
that.
I received
You
that.
get us you get us talking and then we just
Oh yeah.
lose all track of
Yeah.
time.
Yes. You and I could talk for hours.
I'm just going to share a little what's downloading a vision for me.
Mhm.
I see you,
Sure.
I know that visibility thing.
Hmm.
And public speaking is the fear that's worse than death, apparently. But I see you on stages speaking from your truth and your wisdom that women still haven't heard, because that platform that you have, that
Hmm.
I see, we're multidimensional, so I can see it
Yeah.
right now, even though it isn't in form. But it is so powerful, because these are the voices that we are craving for as women.
Hmm.
It isn't about all of the conversation, what makes a man, what makes a woman, all of that, but it
Hmm.
is that dynamic that you have been able to blend two different worlds, men and women,
Hmm.
in a way that is so congruent to women especially, but that also supports men in that journey of understanding how to be more congruent men. I don't want to say better men, because there's nothing
Hmm.
better or worse than,
Right.
but they're more congruent. They resonate with themselves. Like they brought
Hmm.
their energies together instead of
Hmm.
squashing away the feminine. And then the women have squashed away their feminine. So now we have all this masculine stuff going on. It's
It's
like,
a more
no wonder.
holistic, I think, a more
Yes,
holistic
it's
view and
beautiful.
approach.
Yeah.
Thank you. I
Yeah.
received that. And thank you for that download. That is something that I do want to do more of. I do want to get on stage more and speak more and share that. So from your lips to the universe's ears, it's happening.
I'm very good at that.
I love it.
So
Thank you. Well, it
set the
shall
bat
be.
signal up.
My God,
All
Debbie,
right.
this has been such a beautiful conversation. Thank you.
I love having talks with you. It's just so magical. So thank you so much. I'll put all of your info in the show notes, and I'm sure I'm going to have you back, just because you are such a resonance of magic to me.
Thank you.
And just, I am looking forward to seeing what is transpiring, what is developing, what is transforming for you, because I think it's just going to be incredible. So thank you
Thank you,
so much,
Debbie.
Brad.
Thank you for the incredible opportunity to be here with you and just engage in amazing, inspiring, beautiful conversation with you. As you said, we always have wonderful conversations. So it was an absolute pleasure and a joy and an honor to be part of your platform. So thank you for the invitation and thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.